What's going on, everyone? I'm gonna be attempting to fix my sunroof today. The other night I went to I opened the sunroof, went to close it, and it was jamming up on me. Come to find out that the seal, the weather strip that's around it, like all this here, was out of line. You can see there that it's a little, it's not in where it's supposed to be. So today, as I was working on getting that back in where it belongs, I found out that some of the frame on the sunroof itself is rusting. So I'm gonna pull it off. I'm gonna clean it up, sand it, prime it, give it a good coating of the spray that's used for, I think it's called rust converter, and try to stop that before it gets crazy in there and rods out, and then I end up with a leak and have problems with my roof. So we're gonna remove it, clean it up, put some rust converter and some paint if I need to paint it at that point. So stay tuned. We'll get this manual here and I'll show the steps. All right, so in order to get the sunroof off, you're gonna take 4 bolts off, those T20s, one there, there's one there, one there, and one in the back of there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, take those off and you should be able to remove the entire unit as a whole. All right, so once you take those bolts off, they're real tiny, look like this. So if you have a magnet available, probably be a good idea. Mine are sitting up there on the tracks, and then you just push. You'll be able to push the whole thing out. Just be careful. I only have one hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause and take the whole unit off. Guys, so the sunroof is off. One thing you do want to take notice to, or make sure you pay attention to, is the fact that you got to remember how you took this off, so you can put it back the right way. So for mine, when I'm standing on the back side of the vehicle, there's a Honda sticker right there. So I want to be able to read that on the left side of the vehicle, and I want to be able to read it right side up as I'm standing behind the vehicle. You can mark it, you can do whatever you need to, but you just remember that it's got to go back only one way. Mine has a little weather strip along the back here, so I can tell. So just make sure you take notice of that, take a picture of whatever you need to do, and don't mess around with this and break it, because they're like $200 to use. So next I'm gonna take the weather strip off and show you where my problem is. So I thought I was only had a little bit of an issue here, but you can see this is rusting all along the edge here, some of it in there, down along the right side, the front. So I'm glad this got caught for me, because the fact that it got caught allowed me to see that, and now I can take care of it and hopefully salvage this sunroof and keep it from damaging. Like, I don't really care if it comes to the point where I have to replace it, I'll replace it. But I'm happy that I was able to see that before it got real bad, and I had to just get get a lot more work done. So I'm gonna put tape all along the line here along the edge of the glass so I don't scuff it up, and then I'm gonna take a wire wheel, clean up the edges, and paint it with some rust converter, and then probably paint it black. If I have some, I'll probably put some primer and then paint it black once I'm done with that. So all right, let's get to work. So right now I'm using this wire wheel on my drill, so I can just clean the edges up. As you can see, I can get a shine off of it already, and then I'm gonna use that rust converter to spray on top of that, and then once I get that done, then I'll prime it and paint it black with some chassis paint. So after that, it should at least cease the problem. I don't know if it'll fix it for good, but it's better than to let it rust there and risk getting a huge problem with water leaking inside of your car or into your roof and rotting everything. Alright, got all the edges cleaned up. I just gotta be cleaned, and then it's ready for that rust converter paint. There's a weather strip here, and sorry for the turnaround there. My weather strip here that I accidentally ran into with the wire wheel. I would suggest that you cover that with tape maybe. I think I'm just gonna put some regular weather strip on there and replace that. But good idea to not to mess that up. I hope I don't have any issues with that. So just a little tip so you don't have the same problem. Alright, I got my surface clean. Everything is shining in there, and I laid a line of tape around the edge of the glass, and I'm gonna use this old shirt just to cover my overspray. So I'll spray right here. Once I get to this point, I'll stop, move the shirt so I don't get it on the glass, and then I'll flip it, put a shirt underneath it. I got it on this step so that way I don't scratch the surface of the glass, and I'm inside, not a lot of wind, so it should be easy to do it that way. Alright, let's see how it goes. I got some of that chassis paint. So it says here that it dries within so not chassis paint, the rust reformer. It's not converter, so I apologize for that. So I'm gonna spray some of that and let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then hit it with my primer and eventually with the paint. So this stuff is clear. It doesn't have a color to it until it dries, and whenever there's rust, it turns it into kind of like a black color. So I'm just spraying along here, and I'm gonna flip it, cover the other side with tape, did the whole surface here all along, then I'll switch to the other side and do the same thing, let it dry, go from there. Got it all clean and got a coat of primer, and once this, give it a couple minutes, and then I'll throw my paint on there, the final paint, and then put my weather seal back up. I gotta go wash all the rust off the weather strip and then finish up the job. Alright, here's the coat of black. Do have a little bit of the primer on the glass, but I can get that with some steel wool, so I'm not worried about it, but it's looking good. I got the weather strip all washed, ready to go, got it drying, and I'm gonna flip this over and finish her up and wait 2 to 3 hours, let the paint harden up, and then go ahead and sew the sunroof back up. Alright, this is all done now. The weather strip that I messed up there, that little foam piece, I took it off, used a blade to shave all the glue off of it, and then I'm gonna replace it with some regular weather strip. And I just cut a piece and go right along the edge there, just mimicking the same track. I'm not going to cut it. What I have is a little thicker, but I have plenty of surface right there. You see where the line ends, and then so the line ends right here, and I got till here. So I'm just gonna leave what I have, see how that works out, go from there. Waiting for my weather strip to dry and my paint to dry. I'm gonna give it about another hour and then get ready to install it back up. Alright, so I'm all done with the paint. It's mostly dry. I think I rushed it a little bit, so I'm just gonna finish it up. But in order to get this in, take soap or soapy water and put it in the inside of the seal there, all the way around, and then make sure you get this. So this lip goes in first, the top side, and then so you jam this in underneath the glass, and then you work the rubber on top of the frame and then you just keep moving like that. Sometimes you're gonna get stuck where the lip is gonna come up and try to get hung on the glass. But the easiest way to get it done is with some soapy water. Sat here for a little while thinking of how I could do this. I finally thought, well, whenever you're doing anything seals, soapy water usually works pretty good. So again, just take your time, try to work with this at a safe surface where you don't drop it. Now that you got soapy water in the mix, be real careful not to drop it or to crack it, because you put a lot of pressure. So again, work this edge inside first in the crevice there, all the way around, and then push your hand over and over and over, and you'll feel it catching. All right, so here we are at the end. I'm getting ready to put the sunroof back in. Have it on tilt so I can see the holes for the screws, one here, and the same on the other side. So just place the sunroof back on there, and then get your screws, guide them in hand tight, and then work with your wrench or your drill, however you want to do it. Those screws are pretty small, so be careful. I also found that the rubber seal that goes all along this here all the way across was out of the track over there, so I had to put that back in there. And then I took a jug and pour water down all the way on the left and right side to get it to wash down all the crap that was in there from when it was rusted. So the tracks are clear. I'm getting ready to put everything back. All right, guys, we're all done. The way you want to do this is you want to have the sunroof at the close position. Make sure you line up. You'd probably be better off using some help so you can do the bolts. You can tighten the bolts and line it up. So you need somebody at the top telling you when are you lined up with the edge of the roof and the edge of the seal, so you don't have it too high or too low and the water gets by. So again, this is done. My problem was I had rust on the edges of the sunroof, on the where the seal goes. It got caught and I was able to see it. I cleaned it up, painted it, put some rust stopper on it, and primed it, and then painted it, and then put it back up. So hope this helps with anybody having this kind of issues. I'm out.